Instagram page at Rodamine Ministries Instagram. There we go. Tech team has it brought up there. We have some wonderful pictures of the renovations here. Let's take a look at some of those renovations that are happening here. And click on the smaller arrows, not the big arrow, the smaller ones. There you go. So there's, hold on, go back. That was Robert Piquel, Tashiro-san, and John Kavala helping the Queen put the boards up for her backing as she is preparing to do her mural. Now, she's getting very stressed about this. So last night, she was up, from 12 to 3:30. She couldn't go to sleep. Just meditating on her mural. You know how artists are. You know what I mean? When they get into having to create an art piece, they just they transcend time and space. So she's getting to that space. So pray for her as she is preparing the beautiful mural here. Okay, there's just to do all sorts of things like details of wood grain and stuff like that. So it's not as simple as people think, especially because she wants to create it into a natural style where the wood grain itself will be highlighted and not just painted wood and stained wood, but it will be highlighting the natural beauty of the wood. So she's been doing a lot of research on the grains, on the different types of wood that can be used. So pray for her. She is definitely, praying and meditating on the beautiful mural that will be there. And I think it will be represented by the scripture, John 7:37 and 8, which is, and for those who believe, out of his belly shall flow rivers of flowing water. But let's go back to our Instagram page here and let's take a look at some of those pictures there. Let's go to our small arrow. There's some of the young people. Taesung, Junie, and is that Yangpyeong? Who is that? Helping Tashiro-san put up the boards, the backing. Okay, go ahead, next small arrow. There's Tashiro-san cutting it up. There's Shimon and Junie, go ahead. And there's Doogie helping with the with the platform there with Robert. Go ahead. Let's go to our next picture here. Oh, is that the next picture? Oh, okay. Okay, yeah, that is the next picture. Okay, go ahead. And here's some of our training last night. Here's the young people. Here's the young people training.
Training the 1,000 targets.
The drill of 1,000 targets.
Training the 1,000 targets. Switch left stance. Chamber your right. Switch left stance. Training the 1,000 targets. This is the drill of about 10,000 targets.
This is a great solo training, especially for piercing and stabbing strikes. And, okay, turn the volume off, please, there. But this is a great training for stabbing strikes. And what it does is the kids used to just walk by bushes and trees and little, grasses and all this stuff. But they didn't understand that how you frame, how you see the nature will change your experience in nature. Okay, and so this allows them to open their eyes, their minds, to understand that nature is not just some grass you're walking by, but this tree line, okay, has hundreds of thousands of targets on it. Okay, 10,000 targets. Metaphorically, poetically speaking, in the East means infinity of targets. Okay, and this is a very good training where you have to choose quickly a target out of the millions of different leaves and branches that you can choose from, and you have to try to strike it precisely. And actually, it's very hard. It's not as easy as you think. And even though it doesn't look as exciting, when the kids are doing it, it's actually a great way to practice accuracy. Okay, accuracy, and to go for different targets, depth of perception. And of course, when it's windy, even the branches are moving. Okay, so you're training moving small targets, and this is what the young people can get, excited about training outdoors, even if they're alone, solo. Instead of playing video games and doing stupid stuff like that, they go out and don't waste no time and get out and do training. And it's not too exhaustive, so you can do it for many hours. You can do it for as part of your training, a meditation training, but it actually practically helps your accuracy tremendously, tremendously. You know, when you have to pierce a certain part of the body, you have to pierce your opponent in different parts of the body, or you have to aim properly. And then you have that motor memory of your body and your system, depending on how fast you're training and how close to reality you're training, the better. And if you're just using your arm like that, then it's not as good. But if you're moving your body, bobbing, weaving, moving, using footwork, and then stabbing, it's much more appropriate for training. But the young people did that, and it was surprisingly harder than you thought, right? Right? It's surprisingly hard. It's not easy. And of course, there are literally an infinity of targets, which is the exciting part about it. It can be different pieces of bark on a tree. It could be stones. It could be different leaves and branches and little tiny leaflets. Anything becomes a target, and you're precisely striking boom, 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 those targets with precision. And those kind of things allows one to train even with Kali Eskrima alone and do these kind of solo drills. So the young people had their first taste of opening their eyes and seeing nature and as a training partner, and not as a mother that dominates and owns you and that controls you, but nature as a training partner. Okay, that's a very important thing. These pagans always say Mother Nature, Mother Nature. That's not biblical, by the way. Okay, nature is not our mother. Nature doesn't give birth to us. Okay, nature does not control us. Nature does not, rule over us. Nature is our training partner. Okay, it's God made it to be a servant to humanity. It's a serving role. It's not some kind of goddess mother that is ruling over us, and that constantly guilt shames us in participating in the life and death cycle of the of the ecosystem. Okay, which is an essential part of the ecosystem, and it's not a mother that constantly puts us to shame because we like hunting, like the Gaia wackies and the environmentalists always want to try to position it to be. It is definitely not a living organism in that manner. Okay, so. But nature is a great training partner. It's a great support system. It's a great, God made it to serve humanity, and that's why it has medicinal value. It has medicines, and it has training, partnership. It has beauty. It's also God's handiwork. It's also His creation. It's also His art piece as well, which we are to steward and keep beautiful, etc. Okay, let's go to the next picture here. This is our next picture of my man John Clark here training with his son, Sung Hyo. And that's a beautiful picture of them training together. Shout out to John Clark if you're watching the report this morning. But so beautiful to see them training that together, training their 6-strike pattern. John really loves this. John is really becoming, of course, all of you guys, all the first generation folks who are trained under Father, you have a spirit of a warrior, spirit of the martial arts. So it's very easy for him to come into this, and just now the physical body has to just follow. But John's spirit is so fantastic. I love having John there. He works in construction. He's always around tough guys and stuff like that. So it's just so great to have him there, and his son being able to train his son. This is such a beautiful picture. You see, this is one of the gifts of combat arts. You can train with your children these kind of arts, and you're not just doing some kind of ballet or some performance stuff like that. You're doing things. You're spending time. You're using your life's time. You only have a limited time on earth, okay? So you're using that lifetime that you have, the time of your life, okay, the section of time in your life, to train your children, to train with your children, to empower them, to sharpen them, to help them become more wonderful and higher level defenders, okay? You can become their training partner. You can become their drilling partner, whatever it is, at your physical level. You can give them such a tremendous gift. Okay, that is very hard. That's very rare. It's not the amount of people that can do and control these arts is in terms of the world population is 0.0000001%. It's a tiny fraction of people. Okay, in the kingdom of God, it will be a much larger percentage of people. Okay, but right now it's such a tiny fraction of people that can train the wrought of iron arts. So that's of course very sad, but. As we train and the spirit of God, the microcosm is training like this, then it affects the macrocosm. Okay, let's go to the next picture here. There we go. And here's my young man, Victor Sungwon Moon, and B-Boy Mori on Instagram. Good young man. What a quality young man. Professional break dancer, but what a humble guy. I mean, such a humble young man. And he helped me here. He helped us revamp some of the wood seats around. And check that small arrow, please. Small arrow, hit the small arrow, you'll see. Boom, bam. You see how that changed up? See how different that is? So it used to just be that gray old weathered nasty bench. But now it's got some style to it. You see that? It's now got some geometric patterns on there that we designed and put it on there. And we're going to paint the middle sections white. So that's not a completed piece yet. I'm just showing the progress. Okay. But you can see even around the sanctuary, you see there's one with a diagonal slight bent on it. And we'll put some more lines on that as well. So it's going to, even just sprucing the wooden, and by the way, I hand-hewn those benches. When we first got here, I had chainsawed those benches with Brother Lowe, and then I hand-hewed those benches with my axe, with my Grassroots Brooks Bushcraft middle-sized 19-inch axe. Okay, so those benches are all hand-hewn, all hand-cut with chainsaw and axes. And thankfully, nobody got hurt when we were doing it. But the point is, it was looking very nasty and weathered, and the mushrooms are growing all over it, etc. But still, people sit on them and use them. But this is a nicer way to spruce it up, and so this is a cool way to add geometric shapes and style to something that would look very rustic and very weathered. This gives it a nice, fresh look. 멋있지? So the young people really like this, and the girls and the queen, of course, love it, and they like the style of it. And so those kind of simple changes are coming, but that is sort of reminiscent of the season that we're in, that is happening right now. Okay, let's go to the next page here. Okay, this is a nice cartoon by Ben Garrison. Go ahead. It's a very nice one. Hey, there's the girls. That's our coffee team, and cafe team. My baby girl and Allison are working on that bench, and they produced and finalized that first bench. I'm sorry, not bench. Coffee bar, right there. Very simple, minimalistic, mid-century modern, beautiful lines, gorgeous, minimalistic design. And they made another one actually yesterday. So now we have two of those, and there will be a middle section, which will be gorgeous. It'll have butcher block in the middle. It's going to be so beautiful, juxtaposed with the black tables, with the middle stained, beautiful, gorgeous, varnished butcher block in the middle. And it's going to be a recessed inside in the middle section. So you probably don't know what I'm talking about, but when you see it, you're going to be like, dang, that's a beautiful cafe bar. Okay? So just hold your horses now before you start criticizing, before you start making comments. You will see it is beautiful. All right, now keep going. No, that's good. Play that. All right, here's my Viking ninja. Here's Mira. This boy always goes hard. He's getting tossed because he goes hard. He's a wrestler, so he loves going hard. He really trains really hard, but he's used to it. I mean, he's just used to that. He's just trained like that because he wrestled so many years. But that's the price you pay if you train too hard. You have to get manhandled. Okay, but he's a good young man, and let's see that little toss. Look at his feet running in the air because he's a good balance. But look at his feet running in the air. His feet are going woo 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 boom. And look at what's fun is all the young boys in the back watching the toss. So look at all the young boys in the back. They love it. They love seeing that. Watch this. Watch Sung Hyo and Tae-sung and Greedy in the back. Boom! And they all go, oh, they're all watching. They're all laughing, smiling. They're like, yeah, that's wonderful. And Tae-sung shaking his head. So oftentimes, it's the reactions in the back which are so entertaining about these little snippets and clips. And there you go. But Mira is a tough boy, but he's a good guy, a good young man, and a very high quality young man. He's a Viking. We call him Viking Crusader. All right, let's go to the next one. Here's my B-boy Murray, Crusader Ninja. This boy also goes hard because he's a professional athlete, so he moves very quick and very very fast. But good young man. But I unfortunately I am strangling him right here. I am strangling him, so he likes feeling that choke, and when he goes with the king, he loves training. But he's a good young man. He's getting tough, isn't he, Kuchi? Shimon, he's getting hard to finish, right? So the younger kids are having a harder time finishing him because he is a very very strong athlete, very strong athlete, and of course, but a humble boy, and very good as well. Okay, let's go to the next one. This is a young man. This is John Libreros, who came with Master Jojo. He's a purple belt under Master Jojo. And Sean Alvarez is actually his half brother, and he was the first time we ever trained together. So it actually looks like we're kind of going hard, but actually we're not going super hard. You know what I mean? I'm just feeling out his energy. It depends on the person. Because I'm a higher status belt than him. I will go as hard as he's going. So some people, the first time we meet and, they're at my dojo or something, they'll go real light and just flow with me, then I'll just flow with them. I won't go hard with them. But this is the first time I meet him, so I'm feeling him out and not going to submissions, not doing submissions. He blocked a couple submissions because he is an advanced level. He is now in the advanced category. He can compete against black belts and stuff like that. He is an MMA fighter, and he is a purple belt Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu fighter. So he is a very talented young man, talented fighter. And you can see how intensely the young people are watching the king train with him because they were so nervous. They're like, "There's a purple belt is here! A purple belt is here! Oh my gosh, a purple belt! How will the king do with the purple belt?" And they're so intensely watching us train. And of course, when they see the king, training with him and passing his guard and getting into dominant positions and stuff like that, then their hearts subside in their anxiety, and they go, "Oh, okay, all right, okay." Isn't that interesting? But that's training with John Libreros, nice purple belt, very very strong for his size, a young man, and a very talented fighter. And Master Jojo, thank you, Master Jojo, of course, for bringing him as well. All right, and let's go to the next one here. And the next one, I believe, is Master Jojo. Let's go to, hold on. Go ahead, let's go to the next picture here. My screen over here is jumping and blacking out. There we go. And here's, no. And the next one. There we go. And this is with me and Master Jojo. Look at him trying to toss me with this crazy, arm. You see him trying to toss me? Man, dude is strong. He's at a completely different level. You can see his face. He's really exerting himself. Look at that. Really trying to toss me there. But thank God I am a little long, so and the time ran out. But of course he finished. I haven't seen Master Jojo in a couple months, so we're not training too hard together. But he's definitely tossing me around. There we go, right there. I've been trying not to do so many leg locks on him, because I want to train my upper body attacks, which he's just so high level at, and I just want to train my upper body attacks more with him and just train my control. So I haven't really been attacking his legs a lot. He knows I love attacking the legs. He knows I'm a leg locker, so he knows I really hunt the legs a lot. But I've been purposely not trying to hunt the legs so much with him because I want to just improve my upper body attacks. And get it to the level that he's at, because he's just so incredibly. Once he gets your back, it's pretty much over. He has such incredible back control. It's shocking. It's so incredible how good his back control is. But there are some of our clips from our training this week. As you can see, very dynamic, very intense, and very real. Okay, let's go to the next one here. Do we have any more renovation projects here? Oh, this was awesome. Go ahead, play this. This was the first time in history that a Tommy gun was used in a professional shooting bout. And one gentleman decided he's going to use a Tommy gun in a professional shooting bout. So that was quite exciting. And I guess it's a professional shooter here. And he used this Tommy gun to run this course. And so that was pretty cool. Very cool. It's a very heavy gun, but he did, of course, very well. And there he is running this tactical course, this competition course with the Tommy gun. Very cool. With the drum on there, too. Look at that. That's a lot of weight. I mean, he's got 100, what's it? Is that a 100-round drum? So he's got a lot of weight there if that thing is filled up. But that looks pretty awesome. And it's very different from what we're used to seeing with the AR-15s. So, very cool. Very, very cool. Using the Tommy gun to run that course. Okay, let's go to the next one here. All right, okay, so that's about it. And there's the SBRs on our trucks over here. But very, very good training. And, you know, something that's so wonderful about this kind of lifestyle where I get the young people to get training into their lifestyle and their lifeblood is you don't realize how blessed you are. You know, it's such a blessing to be able to train and to be able to focus your mind and to be disciplined, and to do this kind of life-changing, transformative training. This training is such an important part of the culture and civilization of the kingdom of God. Because it is the people that are the defenders. It is the people that must become the Proverbs 28 lions. The wicked flee though none pursue, and the righteous will be as bold as lions, right? So it's incumbent upon the people and the armed citizenry to be the defense mechanism and the defense system in the kingdom that preserve peace and that punishes the wolves very quickly when they try to attack and try to destroy intermittently people's lives, etc. So it's very, very important, this kind of culture. And once the young people now can see how blessed they are to have this kind of culture, the brotherhood, the sisterhood, the community of fighters. You know, it's such a tremendous community of warriors, and it's such a blessing. You know, these relationships are lifelong, and it's like you're at a level of bonding that you never can have at a normal, with normal interaction with people. There's so much skinship. There's so many gifts that you give when you raise your children. You can train, as you saw John and Sung Hill Clark training together. What a beautiful gift. I mean, they could be camping out in the middle of the woods and near over the fire, They could be training their Kali Eskrima sticks, There's just a whole new level and a layer of bonding interaction that you can have with your children, which normal parents cannot have, who are not warriors, cannot have that. They simply don't have that. All they can do is talk. All they can do is, drink coffee together. But we can do all that stuff. Plus, we can fight with one another. We can train with one another. We can have all this contact and grappling and wrestling and strangulating each other and crippling one another in a safe way and beating each other with sticks and training our knife fighting techniques together. You see, it's a whole new world. It's a whole new world of bonding. But you're doing something that is empowering one another. The purpose of it is not to beat one another up. The purpose of it is not to harm one another. The purpose of one is to strengthen one another. And so it really is, in that sense, it's a very Christian thing. You're trying to strengthen one, encourage one in the faith. You're strengthening one in the responsibility given to you by God. Do you see what I mean? So it's not something, I kind of jest and joke about it in that kind of way, but it's not meant for harming one another. It's meant to strengthen and sharpen one another. Iron sharpens iron, or the iron sharpens iron, as the Bible says, So that's really put into practice. And loving God, loving thy neighbor, it's increasing our ability to love and protect our neighbors as we train with one another and, of course, spread that love to our neighbors and the neighboring folks that come and join us for training. So it's such a wonderful multi-dimensional, full spectrum blessing that God gives us that kind of saturates our relationship with the people around us and really brings it to a whole nother level of closeness, of intimacy, of friendship, of bonding, of brotherhood. That just gives a whole nother layer of meaning and value and training and purpose and responsibility and fulfillment of discipline. It's, you name it, just adds so many honorable characteristics to one's life. So we're so blessed. We're so blessed. We're so blessed that we have this kind of training. It just strengthens one. And Friday training, we do the bushcraft training and outdoor survival training, and we enjoy outdoor outdoor cooking and enjoying with food and camping and bushcraft and technique and outdoor training. And of course, this Friday is going to be nice. It's going to be cooler finally. And, I just love that cooler weather, man. That cooler weather is so healing, healing, healing. Of course, the queen is the opposite. She hates the cold weather. And she's learning, of course, that there's no such thing as bad weather. There's only things as bad preparation and bad clothing. Okay, so she's much tougher than before. but I am digressing. Okay, so let's get to our Rima today, folks. Today, after that brief report about our activities this week and the renovations that are happening, and the young people all participating and commiserating with us in order that they beautify the sanctuary. And of course, as you can walk into the building, you can see already things are happening. A new season is here. You guys can notice that, right? Can you recognize that? Did you guys see the progress that's happening? It's a totally different space. And now you can feel something is happening. I believe today will be the day that Jacob Suzuki comes down and paints the ceiling. So that's actually good that the girls are not working on the tables today. But I believe Jacob Suzuki-san is coming down and he will be painting these ceilings in a beautiful black or charcoal. Is today the day he's coming, or is he coming next week? I'm sorry. Maybe next week he's coming. Sorry about that. But he's coming soon to do the lobby, and you will see some beautiful, beautiful Fridays. Or Friday this week? Friday? Okay. So he's coming soon. Okay, so beautiful things are happening. So definitely, folks, get ready for a wonderful season that's happening, even though the economy is crashing and the Federal Reserve is trying to destroy President Trump. So there are bad things, of course, and the storms on the horizon, but of course, a season and a harvest is being prepared. Remember, there's many times that in a bad season where people seek God. That's the reality, okay? Unfortunately, when things are too good, people get arrogant, complacent, and lazy, and they don't feel a need for God, which is bad. Okay? But when people feel the heat, and when they feel a crash, or when they feel something, the pressure is on, then they reach out for God. That's why the combat arts is also very good, because you feel a lot of pressure. You feel a lot of anxiety, because you have to fight people constantly. So it's a lot of anxiety, because I don't let the kids just learn performance arts, fake martial arts where they're just basically performing. That's bull shish kebab, and you all know that. I never like those kind of arts, because I just feel it's just a waste of time. You might as well be dancing or some of that. You know what I'm saying? If you're gonna invest your time and your life energy into training, you got to do stuff that works, that has the record of working, that has the track record in real fighting and combat, that it will work, and you can rely on it. And of course, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, Kali Eskrima, and firearms arts have that track record of real fighting, okay? So that's why I have trained that from a young age. And of course, I now train the young people in those arts, because MMA included as well. Boxing, kickboxing, that's also included as well. But that's why it's so important for the young people not only to understand the empty hands art, because the empty hands community is a strong community, especially if they do MMA and BJJ. They're strong. But they're also somewhat diluted as well. They're 40% diluted, because 40% of real confrontation fights and battles have weapons involved. And if it's military conflicts, 100% will have weapons. Okay, so the empty hands community is 40% diluted, because many in the empty hands community buy into the whole, because they can kill people with empty hands, unarmed people. But when you're armed, all of a sudden the black belt has much more dangerous level of threat. They can die easily in a confrontation with somebody with a simple knife or somebody with a gun. And that's why I show the young people the video footage that they have of a three-time Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt world champion who can smash them. He can smash them, and you can just manhandle and just toy with purple belts and brown belts and black belts. Just toy with them. And he got killed in a confrontation lasted about 1 minute. And the guy was not even a white belt. He was not even trained in jiu-jitsu, but he had a gun on him in Brazil. And the world champion black belt was killed, shot in the head. Okay, so the reality of the empty hands community is that they're 40% diluted, not preparing for the 40% potentiality of force multiplication of weapons. So this is a very important aspect of martial arts culture that you must embrace as a martial artist. It's absolutely critical. A lot of our seniors, a lot of our elderly folks who bodies can't handle the rigors and the stress of the empty hands training, I always just include them into the weapons training. They train with the rod of iron training. They train with the AR-15s. They train with their pistols. They train with a little bit of knife fighting and stuff like that, just to have a backup. But depending on your age, you can always work on force multiplication. Okay, that's the beauty of Chaniguk, because we don't negate technology. Chaniguk will have tremendous technology, and it's a very important thing in our in the training. Okay, to be able to wield the power of life and death, that is one of the responsibilities of he and she who is supposed to have dominion over creation. It's a third blessing of God given to us in Genesis.